Hey, ladies and gentlemen, how's it going? Once again, we are the Agents of Helm. I am Malik, and I will be your moderator today. Alongside me are Joe. Say hello to the
Hey,
people,
what's up,
Joe.
people?
We have Lorenzo in the house as well,
It's going.
and I'm pretty sure she's now an official agent, and she's going to be for some time. You got to start getting used to hearing Johanna. Say hello to the people.
Hi guys.
So every time as you guys already know, every week we give each agent gets an opportunity to moderate his or her own show, and so today is my show. So we are going to jump into one of my favorite topics, but definitely the return. It's all about the return of one of my favorite shows ever, and that is 24. So I'm going to do a quick intro to let anyone that has never seen the show and know exactly what it's about, what's going on, and then we're just gonna dive right in. I have some topic questions in regards to that, and then a couple of fun things for the agents to do before we head out for the evening. So. In 2001, Imagine Entertainment, 20th Century Fox, and Kiefer Sutherland introduced American audiences to a fictional unit known as CTU, or the Counterterrorism Unit. This group of professionals, ranging from technological geniuses equipped with the latest in surveillance to manned attack units armed to the teeth with weaponry, were out to save America from the ongoing threat of terrorism. Their leader is Jack Bauer, a man whose ability to strike fear in the hearts and minds of terrorist organizations and the bad guys who fund them is trumped by his dedication to his country and his will to do what's right, no matter what it takes or what rules are broken. 11 years after it began, 24 has returned for a 12-episode season, and Jack is back and as good as we remember. Or is he? So, I'm hoping that everybody by now has seen the first two episodes. The third episode did air. We are recording on Monday, May 12th. So the third episode has aired, but not all of us have gotten an opportunity to see it. So we will not be talking about that on this show. We will try to do a recap, of it next week after we've all seen the episodes, and we can talk about it then. So right now, I just want to focus on the first two episodes. Did everybody get a chance to see them?
Yes, sir.
All right. So Joe, I'll start with you. What did you think of the first two episodes, and what, if anything, stood out for you to look forward to as the season unfolds?
Um, I thought the first two episodes were okay. A good introduction, a good way to bring Jack Bauer back. Uh, Maybe they'll reveal it in future episodes. I just don't know. Where's he been for the last 4 years? Not that that's important, I guess, but it'd be nice to hear like a little 30-second blurb. Hey, I've been hiding out in China for the last 4 years. Whatever. They can clear that up pretty quick. Um, Rescuing Chloe in the beginning. It seems like, dude, you are never safe. I don't care if you're at CTU or CIA headquarters. You are never safe because how many seasons have we seen either CTU or some kind of headquarters get blown up or infiltrated or something like that? I mean, CTU was supposed to be counterterrorism unit, and it got blown up. Correct me if I'm wrong, like 3 times. So somebody had infiltrated CTU and like blew it up, or something bad happened in there. I mean, it's constantly happening, and it happened again. CIA headquarters is destroyed by Jack Bauer. He breaks down the CIA headquarters where that shares. I guess they share like an office with what's that protection? What's the other group's name, Malik? The group that was actually holding Chloe.
The group that was the I can't remember the name of them. I'm trying to remember the name of that group.
Yeah, because the president's aide or whatever that guy's name, Tate
Yeah.
Donovan, the actor, I forget, he's an aide to the president or something. Apparently, he was having Chloe held there, and he wanted Jack there as well. But Jack, he knew where Chloe was, so he scripted his own capture, um, so that CIA could bring him there, and then the president's aide would be forced to move Jack Bauer over there. So then Jack made his move to rescue Chloe, who I don't even know how they got Chloe. They never, as far as I can remember, they never got into details and exactly why Chloe was there.
Oh, how they how they
how they captured her.
Yeah.
Um, I think she mentioned when she gets back to her headquarters, where because now she's teamed up with like it looks like a bunch of hackers that's trying to spread the word of freedom, and she goes back to that place, and Jack was just it seemed that Jack was just using her to find her new boss or leader or what have you. Um, and that guy looked at him and was like, hey, that's the guy who tried to kill the crow. But the actor who plays Aiden, I believe, in 24 this season was the same actor who played the bad guy in The Crow. But anyway, um, yeah, I thought overall it was okay. In the second episode, the first episode is basically him getting Chloe out.
Right.
The second episode is pretty much the reason why he got Chloe out, so he can find this one guy who's going to lead him. Always in 24, if you watch 24 veteran, Jack finds one guy, which leads him to the next guy, which leads him to the next guy, which leads him to the next guy, all the way through 24 episodes till he finally gets to the big baddie at the end, right? So, yeah, and then we got to see Lady Stark is in this as well for you Game of Thrones fans. Catherine Stark is in 24 this season. Who knows how long she'll last before Jack slits her throat or worse, or shoots her? Huh?
Yeah, like what happened to her? She got her throat slashed, right?
Yeah, got her throat slashed in Game of Thrones. So now she goes from dealing with the oh my God, what's that family's name? The
Lannisters.
No, not the Lannisters. The one that actually.
Oh, the Freys.
The Freys. She's dealing with the Freys. Now she got to deal with the Bowers. Okay? There's only one Bower to deal with.
Only one Bower to deal with, and
there's only one Bower.
That's worse than just about every Frey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. The first, I think the first episode also ends with that, big drone strike. So now you get an idea as to, at least in the very beginning of the show, this is how the bad guys are going to be. This is what the bad guys are going to be using. They're basically using our drones against us to attack our own people. And I guess the mission is to try to kill the president on on foreign soil to start a war or something along those lines. And so at the end of the first episode, one new character that they've introduced us to is Lieutenant, I believe Chris Tanner is his name, but he's played by John Boyega, who I've told you guys before he was cast as one of the new members of the Star Wars movie. He's also from a well-known cult film called Attack the Block that I absolutely love. So I'm glad to see him on the show. And
was he in the first two episodes, Malik?
Yeah, he was in the first two. He's the black guy that basically was running the drones.
Okay, he's the one that's taking the fall.
Yeah, he's the one that they
right.
blame on for it. I like the fact that they brought back, James Heller, who's now the president, who before he was he a
like the DOD.
He was
the DOD.
And of course his daughter Audrey, who was Jack's love interest a few seasons ago, she's now back, and I believe that she doesn't know that Jack is there, or she doesn't know that Jack is around. She's now married, and she's I think she's like she might be his chief of staff, or she might be like an assistant or something like that to her father, who's the president. So yeah, it brought back some characters, and actually added some new people. We saw, was it Benjamin Bratt? Is that his name?
Yeah, Benjamin Bratt
is the new thorn in Jack's side, if you will. And then also the girl from Chuck, I cannot remember her name.
Yeah, Yvonne Stravotsky, whatever, something like that.
She's like the female Jack Bauer.
Yeah, she's one step ahead of Jack Bauer.
Yeah,
she figured out everything.
I like her. So they've added some new characters. I was actually really interested in how this show unfolded. Johanna, are you a 24 lifer?
I don't know if you'd call me a lifer, but I have enjoyed 24 in the past. I was not, unfortunately, able to watch these last 2 episodes, but I've really I enjoy it. I think Jack Bauer makes MacGyver look like a tiny, tiny shrimp of a man.
Hey, wait a second. I'm not going to have you put down MacGyver, okay?
Match
One of
makes
my childhood
MacGyver.
heroes. One of my
I'm going
childhood
to second
heroes.
Joe's motion.
Hey, MacGyver didn't use a gun, okay? He didn't use a gun. Go ahead, Johanna. Go ahead.
He probably couldn't. That's probably the whole point. He probably couldn't use a gun. That's why he used
No.
all these other paper clips and stuff.
All right,
He-
look, guys.
He was like an idiot savant.
What? No, he wasn't. He was a very smart person.
Yes.
Idiot savants are
Guns.
very
He worked for
smart.
the Phoenix Foundation,
He was
for
like a
Christ's sake.
pacifist. They worked for a special. You guys are taking it too far. Seriously.
Well, Lorenzo, did you see the first two episodes?
I'm going to agree with a lot of what Joe said,
Mhm.
with the one exception of that I didn't actually watch the episodes.
Okay, of course. I expected that. That's that much I expected.
You just said you expected us to have seen them all.
No, as a matter of fact, yes, I did expect you guys to have seen them all because we've had over a week to do this, to see the episodes.
Yeah.
But then I realized I'm recording with you, so.
Been busy, and second of all, I'm definitely not a lifer. I've seen a couple episodes. Show's pretty good. You know, it just seems like a lot of crazy stuff happens to poor Jack Bauer. But you know, he does whatever it takes to save the world. So I don't know. For whatever reason, it's just one of those shows that I've never really followed. I've watched a few episodes. You know, when does it come on? I don't even know.
So generally, it comes on Monday nights at 9 o'clock.
Okay, well there you
on
go.
Fox.
See, Monday nights at 9, I am not even home yet. We've established the fact that I just got home.
Right. But we know you have other means of watching these shows. So.
No, it's true. It's true. And Malik, I apologize. Even though I'm not a big fan of the show, to you know, make you happy, because I feel like it will finally bring happiness to your life. I will watch the show 24, and I will start making it part of my repertoire.
Wait a minute. Are you going to watch every single episode of 24? Are you going to pull a Joe and kind of just work
Yes.
through them in a week or
If Joe
two?
gives me the tools to do that, I will. Right after I finish watching all of the seasons of Homeland.
Well, that's not too much.
That's not too hard to
No.
watch that.
Yeah, that's not too much.
And can you please watch it so that I don't feel like I'm spoiling it every time that we talk about it?
Seriously, yeah. That's the only way we're ever talking about anything is if I've either seen it before you have seen it, or if I have seen everything that you have seen and read everything that you've read. Because you are just there should be a spoiler alert stamped to your forehead, Johanna.
Well, it's actually interesting. There's a couple of things that I wanted to touch on with reference to 24, and I also wanted to kind of tie it into Homeland as well. So one of the things was like 24. This is the first time, and I don't know if you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but this is the first time that I remember a show that actually ended. It had its series finale, it finished, and then came back, 4 to 5 years later, or some semblance of time later to kind of retell a whole new story. I don't remember ever seeing a show that's done this before.
Arrested Development.
Now, see, Arrested Development was a little.
Unfortunately.
Arrested Development was a little different. Only I agree with you there, but it was a little different in my opinion, because it never felt like it got a true ending. You know what I mean? Like it felt like it got kind of just cut because I guess Fox decided they didn't want to do it anymore, and they just cut it.
Yeah, that's what happened.
Yeah, before it
had an
actually
ending,
got
though,
a
right?
chance.
It didn't end on the boat with the big. I don't remember how it ended, but it ended. They had a season finale, like a show finale, didn't they?
They did in the sense that I think Michael did go off to like Arizona with the kid, or they got on the boat and the hot dancers were there for some reason, and
Oh my god, that was so fun. That was so funny.
Right?
That show used to be so Funny.
I know, right? And then this
I
last
might have
season
to
just
add it to my
ruined
Rushmore after all. Sorry,
it.
I'm jumping ahead. I'm jumping ahead.
Yes, you are. So, any other shows you guys can think of that because this is like monumental. This was like monumental in my belief, just because of the way that because it actually like since you guys aren't fans of it, I know Joe, you watch it. You know, season 8 ended like it was the series finale. It ends like if you never see Jack Bauer again, you know, you pretty much know where he's going, or you pretty much have an idea, you know, that he ends the show, he's on the run from whatever authorities are looking for him, and that's pretty much how the show ends. But all the other characters have been pretty much wrapped up. They've ended the stories of so many characters. Either they've killed them off, or they just kind of, you know, go off and do their own things and stuff like that. But it's pretty much done. You know, and there was talk at some point in time about a movie that they were going to do, but they couldn't get all the pieces together to bring the movie back, and for some reason they were able to get those pieces together to do another show. But you know, and now we have this show. So it was interesting. It's like I've watched, you know, the series finales of so many shows, and I don't remember a show that like ended kind of on its own note and then came back years later. And so one of the things that I had wanted to tie into this was with Homeland was like the relevance of now. Like so a show like Homeland, you know, is taking place in modern day America, you know, and a lot of the content is kind of fresh and close to, you know, things that are going on or things that haven't gone on as far as terrorism and all of that stuff in our country. You know, 24 started in 2001. It literally started up. When I looked it up, it literally started like a month to 2 months after 9/11 is when the first episodes of that show aired. So it was really relevant to the times that we were dealing with at the time. But since then, it kind of feels, the one thing about the show that I have, like it does kind of feel a little dated, and maybe that's because Kiefer Sutherland looks like he's 70. But
Yeah, I told you.
but it could just be because the characters in the show and what's going on, like you've been following them for so long that now it's like, well, it's been 12 years, you're still fighting a good fight. How does a show like Homeland stay relevant, you know, in the times whereas a show like 24 doesn't? You know what I mean? Like that's one of those questions that I kind of had in regards to that. And do we even care anymore with so many shows like it out there?
No.
Like Homeland or like 24?
Like 24. I mean, when 24 was coming out, just a quick segue. When 24 was coming out, like there wasn't a lot of shows out there like that, you know. And now we've got shows like Person of Interest, we've got Burn Notice, we've got like The Blacklist that's just recently come out. We've got, like you guys said, Homeland is out. So how does 24 kind of fit into that mesh now? When it used to be the front runner, now it's kind of one of the pack. So you know. And like I said, do we care? You know, do people care anymore about these shows? Go ahead, Loren.
Yeah, I think it's all about Jack. I mean, Jack is what makes the show go. People tune in to see how is Jack. At least, well, I won't say people, but I'll say for myself. I used to tune into 24 every week because I wanted to see how Jack was going to make someone talk. You know, that's what I loved about 24. How he had no regard for a criminal's life, and that he was willing to do whatever it took to get whatever information he needed, you know, for that episode from that guy or girl. So I used to love that. Now, do I love it so much now? You know, maybe not, because it was done to death. It was, you know, they did it so much, you know, especially in the last few seasons. They really started to get more, like they really turned up the action, it seemed, and it gave less story and gave more action. That's why I felt it started to die down a little bit, because, you know, a lot of action is great, but if there's no story, you know, it doesn't really all tie together. You feel like you're just going from one scene to the next scene. But yeah, this series, this new one, is only going to go as far as Jack goes, and if people like what Jack is doing. If they don't, then I don't think people are gonna. I think people will tune in, but I think it won't be the same. It's definitely not the same. I mean, it's just
it doesn't. Has a
Well, I
different
should
feel
say
to it.
this. It's too much of the same. I should say it's too much of the same. Like when I watched those first two episodes, it was like, this is like, it's like they have it like it's like the 24 formula. You know, let's blow something up. Let's blow up headquarters. I don't care what headquarters is. It's like, we got to blow it up.
Yeah.
You know, so it just seemed like it's more of the same. They didn't do anything so far, and we're only talking 2 episodes. We have 10 more to go. Nothing new is happening except we have new characters, and that's about it so far.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like, and it also feels like if they do something new, it's probably going to be a retread of something that's already being
Right.
done on another show in another network or something like that. So how do you, Lorenzo? You've been watching Homeland. As far as what you feel about the Brody character, or what you feel about like the content of what's going on there, like how do you feel like that relates to what's going on now, and how other shows, like, because to me Homeland feels like the front runner. And because of its content, because of how gritty it gets, and because of the fact that it's on Showtime and they can pretty much show whatever the hell they want to, it seems like that one is like the front runner. I love Burn Notice, but Burn Notice is now ended. But Homeland is like now the new terrorist show, and how does a show like that relate to a show like 24?
Well, just first of all, just fair warning, or actually fair warning for myself, I guess. I'm not sure how it works, but I've only seen the first season of Homeland. So be careful.
Well, that's why I'm letting you speak, and I'm not letting
Okay.
Johanna speak,
Okay, great,
because
great,
if
great.
Johanna speaks, she's gonna go deep into this, and you're gonna be
Yes.
completely spoiled.
Right. Okay. So what my take on it is, for me, I think that a show like 24, because of the format, the way it's designed, it's very much driven by circumstance, right? Like constantly something's happening. It's very reactive in the way that things are handled, or at least from the 2 episodes I've seen of 24. Whereas with Homeland, the main character, actually, I would say both main characters are very, they're agents of their own fate in a lot of ways. Without revealing anything, Johanna, what is the main character, the female Claire Danes? What's her name?
Carrie.
Okay, that's good. That's all I need to know. All right, so Carrie is very much she rides the fence. So Jack, the way he rides the fence is that he's going to do whatever it takes to stop the terrorists, And Carrie is similar, but Carrie's unhinged. Whereas Jack, I think, he does. You have confidence that whatever crazy shit Jack is doing, and it's going to come out to be the right thing in the end. It's going to save America or whatever.
Yeah, but
Hold on. Whereas Carrie, on the other hand, is fucking crazy, and she is going to do some crazy shit, and you're not quite sure. You don't have that confidence that what she's doing is actually going to work out. You know that she's brilliant. You know that she's definitely on to something, but you don't know necessarily that that she is going to be able to help. And it's the same thing, whereas with 24, I feel like, again, from the 2 episodes I saw, that the bad guys are very much the bad guys, and the good guys are the people that are trying to stop the terrorists. It's like you're either for us or against us. Whereas with what they try to do with Homeland is to really show the multiple sides of the issue of terrorism, to show that drones. It's interesting that 24 is using drones because obviously drones play a big part in the Homeland story, and I think it's calling attention to the fact that there are 2 sides to it. That some of the stuff we do has an influence on what is being done to us. So
You make a
I
good
think,
point. And I
Correct.
think you make a good point in the sense that 24 definitely plays that good versus evil. So you know who the bad guys are and you know who the good guys are. Whereas Homeland kind of gives you that overarching story that kind of indicates that we're all kind of messed up in just in general. That we just may be different levels of messed up from each other, but
Right.
the
I mean,
ones that
even
are
the main
attacking us are
characters are
attacking us for a
definitely
reason.
messed up.
Right. Johanna, what you were gonna say something about it?
Yeah, I think Carrie Matheson is a lot like Jack Bauer in terms of the fact that I mean, I'm not going to get into the third season, but I think in the third season
Now,
this
if I
changes a
was
little
to
bit.
mute Johanna now, would she be muted for everybody or just for
Yes, she
me?
would. Yes, she
You
would.
would.
She would be muted for
I
everybody. So just take your ears away from the. You can mute your end, mute your computer screen
All
or
right,
whatever.
I'll be back.
Okay, there you go.
Oh, can I talk spoilers now then?
You can go right ahead. We've all seen the show.
Hold on.
Okay,
I
If you
haven't
want
seen
me to
season
talk
three.
spoilers, then I am also going to turn this off.
wait, Joe, have you
But
seen the
you can
show?
spoil it.
Okay.
You can spoil it. I haven't seen season 3 yet, but you can spoil it.
So season 3, you find Carrie doing like a whole lot of things that like make no sense and then actually don't serve the mission at all. So I wouldn't count the third season. But I would say that a difference between 24 and Homeland is, and I think Homeland does this very subtly, is just kind of showing just how in everyday militarism and the surveillance state have kind of infiltrated our society. For example, in the third season, they can track Carrie through DC using the different cameras that are placed in different, locations. Um, Another example would be just some of the like almost dystopian like things that are said at Brody's church, and just about how truly, I don't want to say intrusive, but how embedded this new normal is in our lives. And I'm not quite sure that 24 does that to that extent, because 24 is more interested in the action and into, it's a 24 hours sort of thing, right? It's about reaction. And Homeland is a lot more about our trying to say something about our society now, but at the same
Mhm.
time, having said that, I don't think it's very realistic. Brody
Which one?
becomes
Oh, Homeland. Okay.
Homeland. Brody becomes a senator, and he's going to run for vice president. And I'm not saying that that couldn't happen, but it just seems so far out of left field, considering Brody's also kind of, honestly, he's kind of an idiot. I. Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, he has literally no political background whatsoever.
No.
You
Oh,
can pretty
but they
much
didn't
tell
care about
he's
that.
right, but you can pretty much tell he's used as a pawn,
Yeah.
as a
Yeah.
pawn for for patriotism and for our military and all of that stuff. But you definitely, yeah, and you definitely, it's funny that you mentioned that, Johanna, because it feels like Homeland. The things that they're doing in Homeland are the things that they're doing to prevent things like 24 from happening. Like 24
Yeah.
happens, and the reason why like everything blows up and a whole bunch of people die, and then we're like, okay, so maybe we should start monitoring these terrorists,
Yeah.
earlier than the day it happens. You know what I mean? Like maybe Jack Bauer shouldn't be the only person that knows what the hell's going on,
Yeah.
in these situations, and we should all be kind of engrossed in what's going on. So a lot of the stuff about the drones and kind of knowing where Jack Bauer is, like when you mentioned that Jack Bauer gets himself captured. It's like in 2014, like nobody knows where this guy is. Like nobody has
Yeah.
any clue where the hell this guy is. He's not been. You don't have APBs out for him all over the world looking for this guy or something. You don't have some kind of system to be able to track this one guy who everyone considers like the worst traitor in the history of the world. It's kind of interesting to see that.
Yeah. I feel like I was going to say something about a Gordian knot, which is the third season is a freaking
Hmm.
Gordian knot, and that's where, the series really just kind of goes off the deep end with, again, these things aren't totally unrealistic, but for example, the whole gambit where she ends up in the mental hospital, but it's all part of a plan
Yep.
with Saul to entrap the skinny dude with the big nose, and the pregnancy storyline that nobody wanted, and then finally just the way they plan to use Brody in order to bring peace to the Middle East.
I didn't see that coming, by the way. I did not see the whole hospital thing coming. I mean,
No,
it
I
was to the
didn't.
point where I was getting really upset that we kept going to this hospital scene and watching her kind of deteriorate mentally, and that it was to the point where I was like, okay, where the hell is the show going? I'm going to stop watching. And then when they finally did that, I was like, oh, great, perfect, all right.
All right,
This is good.
but then Brody dies, and you have the same. I had that reaction, which is why am I going to keep watching?
Now that he's gone, yeah.
Now that he's gone, we don't have that dynamic between Brody and Carrie anymore.
Oh man, what? Oh, I don't need to watch it. Thanks, Shauna.
Joe,
You said
Thank
to go
yeah.
ahead.
you said go ahead, man.
I know. I'm just messing with you.
But now you know, and I'm sorry that you know, because your life will
okay.
never be the same. So,
Now I can wait even longer now.
oh yeah, you don't
watch
need,
it.
yeah.
Well, I thought it was time for him to go anyway. To me, at the end of season 2, he really didn't serve any more purpose to me, after that. But I'll watch season 3 and see.
I mean,
But
like,
now he's gone, so that's good.
and he had a very nice redemptive arc, redemption arc, where he makes good and he's able to kind of clean his name of a lot of the things and sins that he committed. But, at the end of the day, it also brings like a sense of anticlimax to the whole thing, because where can they go now?
Right, exactly. So, Joe, I actually have something for you. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to compare, since you watch all 3 of these shows and you've seen all 3 of these shows.
Are you
I want
guys
you to
still talking
compare-
Homeland?
No, I want you to compare Jack Bauer
Yep.
to Michael Weston,
Can you give me a signal
and you can come back. You can come back.
Alright.
We're on a different topic. I want you to compare Jack Bauer, Michael Weston, and the main character from Person of Interest, the main
John.
John from Person of Interest. I want you to compare the
Can you guys
3
hear me?
and tell me
I
what.
have you on mute.
Yes, we can hear you, Lorenzo.
Oh, yeah.
I want you to compare the 3,
Talking about Homeland.
and we are not talking
No,
about Homeland.
you're not.
No, you're not.
Come back.
Yes. So at this point, Lorenzo, I want Joe to do a comparison and contrast of those 3 characters, because he knows all 3 pretty well. So Jack Bauer, John, and Michael Weston.
Oh, wow. Those are 3 good ones. And I'll just say right off the bat, Michael Weston is probably my favorite one.
Okay.
Because I think Michael Weston, unlike Jack and to a certain degree John, Michael Weston will always look for a non-violent solution. He would try to find his way out without having to use violence, and it's usually pretty crafty, the way really creative, the way he comes up with things, just to avoid violence. But
yeah, he does his best not to kill a lot.
Right.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to kill if he doesn't have to, but if he has to, he's pretty damn good at it.
Right.
So he's a trained killer, but he doesn't want to do it. Which is really good. You watch the show, and it's pretty funny too.
Yeah.
But yeah, Michael Weston to me is head and shoulders. I wouldn't say head and shoulders above, but I would take him before I took Jack Bauer or John from a Person of Interest, because I think Michael Weston would do what he needs to do to get the job done. And he'll use very creative ways to get it done. But he's never been under, all this. I've watched every season of Burn Notice. He's very rarely is he put under the same time constraints that Jack is put under. So Jack has to solve whatever he's got to solve in 24 hours, right?
Right.
Michael Weston has usually got time to plan. He gets to plan everything out, to set up his whatever, what do you want to call it? Set up his sting operation.
Yep.
And watch the plan come together. Where Jack doesn't do it, Jack just falls into this thing, and now he's just trying to figure out. Which brings me to one point: how the hell did Jack know that there was going to be an assassination attempt on the president? Yet no one else knows. Nobody.
Clearly,
Nobody.
Clearly, he's in the underground area of the terrorist organization.
Yeah, he's
What the hell's
somewhere.
and no one knows who the hell Jack Bauer is.
Yeah.
fact that he's been doing this for the last 12 years.
Jack Bauer.
Can I ask you guys just
What?
Go ahead, Lorenzo.
the show? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
The show's been going on for a while.
You're breaking up, Lorenzo. We can't hear you.
Is it just coincidental that
Yeah, still can't hear you, man.
is it always happens in 24 hours?
Yes, it always happens in 24 hours.
Is it a coincidence?
Oh.
Is it just a
not-
coincidence?
It's not coincidental in the sense that it's kind of when things are happening real time. So it's one of those situations where, you know, usually, and it's I don't know how much, whether it's happened so far in this season, but usually like an event happens very early on, and as they're trying to figure out what happened in that event, they start putting the pieces together and start figuring out that one event was a precursor, if you will, to a larger event that's getting ready to take place over the course of time, or it's something where they get some type of information that has been kind of floating around for a long time. They get that information, and that information leads them down a path where they're starting to figure out, oh shoot, something's actually going to happen, and it's going down tonight, or it's going down tomorrow, or something like that. So
No, those are the only two choices, either tonight or tomorrow. That's every time. That's when it's going down, right?
Yes.
Right, right.
You'd be amazed how much stuff can happen in 24 hours. It's amazing.
In an episode or two, a lot happens in an hour.
Yeah. Jack gets into a shootout every hour. I don't know if that's a record for any agent, but he gets into a shootout every hour of that day.
So I would say so what. I don't really watch Person of Interest, but how would you
so
compare
continuing,
John? Yeah.
Okay, so John is very similar to Michael Weston.
Okay.
John will try to find a non-violent solution
Mm-hmm.
before he resorts to violence. And much like Michael Weston, if it comes down to that, he's very capable. He's very good at his job. He's also a trained killer. So, but he wants to find. He's going to ask you the question first. Hope you give him the answer. He'll try to work it out in a nice way. But if things go south, he's more than capable of whipping your ass. That's it. He'll take care of you.
And you get the sense that John also goes up. He has time constraints too, because in her situation.
Yes, he does.
Isn't something like.
Yeah. So,
save
well,
somebody
person
at a
of
certain
interest,
amount of
you
time.
don't know when it's going to happen. You got to hope that you get there in time,
Okay.
or find out who's going to commit the crime before it happens. So all they get is a number, and that number is a person, and they don't know if that person is the victim or the perpetrator.
Mm-hmm.
So they try to figure that out. And sometimes it does take more than a day because they're following this person around and stuff like that, and then they figure it out. But I will say this: as far as like protecting me, if I needed a guy to protect me, I'm taking Michael Weston or John for person of interest, because Jack, anybody who gets around Jack is dead. Jack is not protecting anybody. If you're Jack's friend, you might as well just shoot yourself in the head, because if you don't do it, he's going to do it, or the guy he's after is going to do it. Nobody close to Jack stays alive, so I don't want to be hanging out with Jack.
Well, except Chloe. Chloe has made it.
Yeah, but Chloe's never usually with Jack, right? She's like in a van somewhere or at headquarters somewhere. She's never in the field with Jack, like Bill or Tony Almeida or Curtis or all the other ex-bosses of CTU that have passed away because of him. We have a dead president because of him. We have two dead presidents because of him.
Yeah, I always say I always say, like, if you're working at CTU for the day, you're sitting there. It's a regular Tuesday. You're just sitting there. You're doing your stuff, and Jack Bauer comes walking through CTU. Take the day off. Just take the day off. Just get up.
Go home.
And go home.
Start throwing up, because your life is in danger.
Do not stick around, because something is going to happen.
Because The safest place in the world is not CTU.
Absolutely not. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's one of those things where as soon as I see Jack Bauer, I'm gonna sit and I'm in CTU, and I'm like, all right, which one of you people is a rat? Because clearly one of us is a rat here.
Yeah.
One of us is telling on somebody. One of us is giving away secrets. And Jack Bauer is getting ready to interrogate this whole group of us. He's probably gonna shoot me in the leg. So I'm gonna just take my vacation time now.
That's right. Get out of town. Get out of the state. If Jack Bauer is in your state, leave.
Make a couple phone calls.
That's somebody's gonna die.
And I said that I think that in 24, I think that the president needs to have his own Jack Bauer team of people that know where Jack Bauer is at all times. Like, we don't bother. Like, you remember how in the Avengers, Shield had a team that they knew where the Hulk was. Like, they knew exactly where Bruce Banner was at all times. They were like, just to make sure, we just need to make sure we know where you are. We don't necessarily want to come and get you. We just need to know that you're located here so that nothing goes on here.
Right.
And I think that's what I think the same team needs to be had for Jack Bauer. We need to know exactly where this guy is at all times.
Yeah. Because wherever he is, death follows.
Yeah, something's happening. Something bad's gonna happen.
Somebody's dying whether he pulled the trigger or not.
Something bad's gonna happen, exactly.
But I will say, if I need someone to save the country that day, I'm gonna go with Jack Bauer because he clearly done it many times. But just to help me out, me personally, no, I don't want Jack Bauer anywhere close to me because he don't know how to protect people. Everybody he gets close to is dead. The only person that he's close to that's still alive, the only two people that are still alive are Chloe and his daughter, and that's it.
And he's kept his daughter very far away from things.
Yeah, and he couldn't even protect her. She almost got killed by a lion in like season 2 or tiger, whatever that was.
What?
Yes, you think I'm not making that up. It was like a tiger or something in the woods, a mountain lion or something, and where Kevin Dillon brings her into his log cabin, and he almost has his way with her. I mean, that girl was in so much trouble. You'd think the daughter of a CTU agent, the top CTU agent, would never have problems with anybody because he'd find them really quick. No, not so.
Well,
no, he can't protect his loved ones.
He's so busy trying to save the country, save the world, that he forgets where his kid is. And I've always said that makes very little sense to me. She'd have a tracker. Yeah. She'd have a tracking device in her somewhere.
His wife got killed in CTU headquarters. So no.
By his girlfriend. No
by his girlfriend. His wife got killed by his girlfriend in CTU headquarters. No, that guy cannot protect anybody. No, you can protect the country, can't protect a person.
Absolutely.
So, no. I don't want him protecting me. If it came down to that, no, give me Michael Weston or John Reese. Those two guys know how to protect people because they're usually alive at the end of the episode. Jax, no, even his friends get killed. Look at poor Curtis. He shot Curtis in the neck.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Because they had a little disagreement. You could be like, Curtis, we could talk this out, buddy. No. Hey, Curtis, put it down. I'm going to shoot you. Jack, you're not going to shoot me. He thought wrong.
Or even Chappelle.
Yeah.
Ryan Chappelle.
Ryan Chappelle gave up his life for nothing because that led to nothing. These guys, they drop like flies around Jack Bauer. No, thank you. Save the country? Yes, because I know he will kill people to do it. And people, his friends, he's willing to sacrifice his friends and family to save the country. That's great, but I don't want him protecting me because he'll sacrifice me, and that's not. I just can't live with that.
He'll find the greater good. He'll be like, your death was for the greater good, Joe. I mean, I know I was here to.
Not for my good.
I know I was here to save you, but while I was here to save you, I ran past this room where they had these nukes. So I gotta kind of fix that problem. And if that means I gotta shoot you in order to take care of that, I'm gonna have to take you out because you're just one person and we're out for the greater good here.
Yeah,
so.
You're slowing me down, and you don't have the tactical experience I need.
So what happened to Johanna?
It looks like she got disconnected. It happened to her earlier. She'll jump back on. Yeah. So no. With Jack, I will not live another day if Jack is protecting me.
So this brings us to our next. Thanks for all your insights. Hopefully you guys can watch Lorenzo. Hopefully you can start catching up on some of the episodes. I mean, you can just start with this season and see if you like it, and if you do like it, you can go back.
Yeah,
you can work your way backwards. It's no problem. But yeah, we'll try to keep you guys posted and talk about some of these episodes, do some reviews during the season, and see what people like about it, and take it from there. I mean, I'm happy that the show is back. I'm definitely happy that the show is back, and I'm hoping that this becomes at least something that they can venture into every once in a while. I don't necessarily need to see the show back on a regular basis, but because there's a lot of other things that are out now. But it is nice to see Jack back and some of the familiar faces from seasons past.
Yeah, I just think they could do 24 a different way. Like, I think 24 on its own could live on without Jack Bauer. I mean, yeah, I think initially people could think, oh, it's not 24 without Jack, but I think 24 could be anything. It could be a city under siege. It could be something else. It could, without Jack Bauer, it could be a policeman. It could be somebody else. It could be a lot of other things. I think keeping it as Jack. I'm sure Kiefer doesn't want to keep doing this. It could be something else. It could be more.
Well, then, I mean, that bars the
what if it
question.
was like 24 and it was just like 24 in the hour of like some random person? Instead of it always being 24 hours of Jack Bauer, the
I think
lady
that
man.
I think that the part of the show's intrigue is that it has to do with this with the terrorist piece of it. But I mean, I see Joe's point. Like, you don't necessarily need Jack Bauer as being the centric, but he's kind of like, just like I was saying, like John or like Michael Weston. He's kind of like the character that drives the show. So you would have to, and I think that there were moments throughout this series where they kind of started to allude to the fact that there was going to be a replacement for him, and then that replacement either dies or I remember there was a season where he had a partner.
Yeah, he had Chase.
Chase was his partner, and everybody thought for so long throughout that whole season that Chase was going to be the one to take up the mantle, and then something happens to Chase, and he
lost his hand or something.
Yeah.
I think he lost his hand or something like that.
And then
Like
for a while,
24
Freddie
hours
Prinze
in the life
Jr. was in one
bodega
season.
owner.
Yeah.
24 hours in the life of that one weird guy that's always hanging out on the corner of the street.
Well,
that everybody knows.
that wouldn't be 24. That might be
He's
a
weird.
reality show.
He also
That might be
has
a reality show that you can do.
It's like, but it would basically be
No,
like
but then
our
somehow it would be
Chase.
related to somehow.
Okay, Little John.
I think we got it. I think we got a premise. Could work.
I have no idea what you're saying, Lorenzo.
Yeah, but yeah, it could be 24 hours in the life of a bodega owner, or 24 hours in the life of that weirdo. I believe that's what Lorenzo was saying.
Crazy guy that is on the corner. Like, there's a crazy block. Not every neighborhood has the crazy guy that is on the corner that everybody knows.
I don't have a crazy guy on my corner.
Actually, I have a crazy guy. He
Already? You just got there.
No, old place, old place. He like pushes a shopping cart with two chihuahuas in it, and the chihuahuas wear like these little plastic New York Yankees hats. And you know that summer is about to come because he emerges with these chihuahuas.
Yes, I would like to see 24 hours of his life
Yes.
over 24 episodes. Yes.
There you go. 24 hours.
24 hours in the life of Chihuahua Man.
Yeah. No.
Very interesting. Well, that actually brings us to the next to the next topic of today's podcast, and I wanted to have a little fun with you guys and see if you guys could come up with your own favorite shows. So just to let you know, 24 is one of my favorite shows. I grew up, it pretty much encompassed the entirety of my 20s. So now, it's coming back, and I'm happy to see that, as you guys already know. So I kind of wanted to get you guys' take on your TV Mount Rushmore, and that would be your television shows, the television shows that are carved into the recesses of your mind and have helped shape the agent that you've become. So it's going to be 4 shows plus an alternate. And the alternate is going to be our Susan B. Anthony alternate. So as a lot of people may know, Susan B. Anthony was supposed to be the fifth face on Mount Rushmore, and it was not cleared in time. So they just did the four that we see up there. So
I didn't know that.
so we're going. Yeah. So yeah. You
That's
could,
cool.
yeah. She was supposed to be as the face of civil rights. She was supposed to be the fifth face on there. But it was stopped because of some of the grants. So they had the four faces that they finished, and they wanted to kind of see if they could do. And there's still talks about that whether or not that they ever do it again. That they would have her as being the individual, and I think that's why she got the coin, as a matter of fact, as kind of a what's a kind of a consolation gift or something like that. I don't know.
I
But
mean, they could still. I mean, like they do the Crazy Horse Monument. I mean, they did the Crazy Horse Monument because of the fact that America stole the Black Hills from the Native Americans, but I guess they could do some sort of monument to Susan B. Anthony as well.
Yeah.
Some lady representation.
Hey, no problem having the ladies up on Rushmore. That would be cool. So I wanted to see, you guys give me your Agents of Helm TV Mount Rushmore. So that's, like I said, it's the four shows that live with you and your one Susan B. Anthony alternate. So I'm gonna give Johanna the stage to start it off with her four. And so what you're gonna do is give me the names of the shows. Give me a little bit of rundown. Maybe we've seen the shows before. Maybe we haven't. Give me a little rundown about it and why it's either shaped you or why it's become why it goes up on this list for you.
Okay, so this was kind of hard for me. I've talked about it on the show before, Battlestar Galactica, which is basically about the destruction of 12 planets on which humans lived and how the survivors had to leave those planets to start life anew. And meanwhile, they're being chased by Cylons, who are like these cybernetic, human-like creatures who just blew up their planets, and then they're still chasing them so they can just completely annihilate humanity. But then it becomes really about these relationships, like between the Cylons and humans, and about how they can resurrect. And there's this whole mythical aspect to it as well, mystical. So yeah, that's definitely in the pantheon. And the next one is Buffy the Vampire Slayer, which is about a girl who can fight vampires. That one is much more simple to explain. She fights demons and vampires with her group of plucky, snarky friends, and sometimes her extremely attractive vampire boyfriend. Angel, not Spike, though. It's all about Angel. I have a friend who is like, Spike, and I'm like, no, he's ugly. He's got I'm not a fan of the curly peroxided hair or any of that.
And Buffy is interesting because Buffy is like to me is like the first one in the list of stuff that where Twilight follows all of that stuff. Like, so Buffy seems like Buffy came out in like the early '90s. That first movie came out, and then is the show.
Kristen Swanson.
The show is based off of the movie, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah, sort of. Yeah.
It's like loosely based off the movie.
Okay, so it seems like the other stuff like the Twilights and the what's the show on HBO? I can't remember.
True Blood.
Yeah, like all of that stuff kind of like Buffy started it. Buffy kind of was the head. So now. Yeah. So I'm sorry. So go ahead. You go ahead. Go ahead. Continue.
I did want to respond to that though. I would say that the current-ish trend of vampire stuff, it's sort of like Interview with the Vampire meets Buffy, in that you have like this sort of stuff with like the Baroque, and they're talking all fancy, and then you have some of the Buffy elements, which is like, I'm just a regular person, living my life, drinking people's blood. But I am disappointed that some of the women empowerment stuff that was a part of Buffy hasn't really translated to a lot of these new shows. Like But I also blame that on, not to get all deep into Buffy or anything, but the sixth season where she's kind of dealing with post-traumatic stress and starts having sex with Spike um, is probably like one of the reasons. I mean, like it makes sense, right? That she just came back. Like she died at the end of season 5, and her friends resurrect her, so it's extremely traumatic, and she starts doing all this crazy stuff. But I think people got the wrong message out of that. So my third one is It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Oh, a recent one.
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah. That's a show that I can watch. In fact, I have been the last 2 weeks just watching and repeating episodes. There's a musical episode called The Night Man Cometh, and I think I've watched it 10 times. It's really funny. Have you seen it?
I'm a huge fan of It's Always Sunny.
Yeah, it's like
I've seen it.
It's one of my favorite episodes. I think the Dayman song is on a playlist of mine because I really like it. So yeah, I don't know what it is about. It's just like the thing is, people are like, yeah, they're so unlikable, they're terrible people, and it's like, yeah, but they're losers because of it, and they think they're like so awesome, but then when you see them interact with normal people, you're like, no, like you're not. You're not. And what's worse, it's like you're like kind of pathetic, and people are creeped out by you.
Yeah.
So I really enjoyed that aspect of it. I also put the UK version of The Office. I like the US version, but the UK is just, I mean, above and beyond. It's a lot darker. It's a lot meaner. It also has a musical episode. Actually, I just realized all of these except Battlestar Galactica have musical episodes.
So clearly that's something that you like.
Apparently so. So Office UK, I guess I'll give the blurb. I should have given it for Always Sunny. Office UK is about David Brent, this really unlikable boss in a British paper company office, and about how, it's about what bored people do when they work in an office where they don't feel like their work is very significant. And then I don't think I'm gonna take my optional.
Okay. Well, yeah, you don't have to. I mean, if these are your 4, then these are your 4. You don't have to.
Oh wait, My So-Called Life.
Hmm.
I don't know if anyone else, any of the other agents were into My So-Called Life. It was about 17.
But Carrie Matheson, right?
Yes, Carrie Matheson is in it.
Was she just as crazy back then?
No, she did a lot of pouting and just looking at Jordan Catalano.
That's how it starts. That's how that emo crazy starts. Is just.
It starts with pouting?
Yeah, and then cutting. Cutting comes after pouting.
Pouting and cutting, and no, she just was a pouter. She was pining after Jordan Catalano, who's played by Jared Leto. And it's really funny to see how he hasn't aged. He still looks like he could kind of play like a 20-year-old. But yeah, I was a teenager when it came out. It was angsty. It was cool.
Great. I like your 4. It's like a little bit of sci-fi. You was actually 2 sci-fi. Does Buffy count as sci-fi? Or is that like fantasy? Okay, so you got the sci-fi, you got the fantasy, you got the comedy, which is just straight comedy, and then you have My So-Called Life, which is kind of a coming-of-age story, or a coming-of-age. Is it? I mean, I've seen a couple of episodes of it.
It's like a coming-of-age drama.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit of everything. That's cool. All right. Well, you don't need. If you think of your 5th one and you want to chime in while we're going, go ahead. You feel free.
I gave the 5th one.
Which one was the 5th one? I thought
My So-Called Life.
So which one were your 4? Battlestar Galactica.
No, we don't
Buffy
need to
the
go
Vampire.
Oh, The Office. That's right, The Office. That's right. The Office.
Lorenzo, you wait your turn.
So, Lorenzo, would you like to go since you chimed in on Johanna's moment?
No, I chimed in on your recap. Is what I chimed in on.
Oh, okay.
But okay, so I got my 4. Batman. It's about a guy that dresses up like a bat.
Which Batman? You mean the Adam West Batman?
As far as I know, there's only one Batman show. There's cartoons, but there's only one live action Batman show. Yeah, guy dresses up like a bat. He gets a young man to be his live-in ward. He's in with the police. Police love him. They count on him a lot to solve all their crimes. And what's interesting about his show is that it's every other week is a cliffhanger. So you never quite know how it's going to end, or you know something good's going to happen, but at the end of every other episode, it's a cliffhanger, and then the other episode, every other episode is the resolution of that cliffhanger. It's kind of interesting way they did that, I thought. There's Star Trek, of course. It's about a ship that goes on a five-year journey to seek out new life and new civilizations, and apparently so that Captain Kirk can have sex with them. There's the show Twilight Zone that is basically, it's this guy in black and white who tells you these different stories, and he always ends his explanation with the words "in the Twilight Zone." So then weird things happen, always with the twist. That was my first experience with twist endings that it had a big impact on me. Looney Tunes was actual real cartoons. I don't know how old you are, people that are listening, person that is listening, but if you don't know Looney Tunes, then you don't know cartoons at all.
I watched Looney Tunes.
What?
I watched Looney Tunes. I watched them with my dad.
I never said you didn't.
I don't know. You seem to be implying that people of a certain age would not watch Looney Tunes.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you're like 10 years old, you probably might not have heard of Looney Tunes.
10-year-olds are listening to our podcast now.
You really don't know, do you, Jan? You don't know if anybody's listening to our podcast, frankly. But all that said, I'm going to do it Quantum Leap style, and I'm going to disregard all those, and we're going to talk about my 4 that have happened in my lifetime. Because, like Quantum Leap, the show, he can only jump in his own lifetime. So, with that in mind, I got to say my number 1 is The Muppet Show. This was my first real fandom. I think we talked about this on one episode. The Muppet Show sort of introduced me to what television could be. It was a variety show that I understood. It had music in it, and it had a lot of stupid comedy. As far as I'm concerned, that show had everything needed to be a successful show. And it was magical. You can never go back and do The Muppet Show again. It's impossible. But I love.
Oh, did we lose Lorenzo? Yep, looks like we lost Lorenzo. So
he's frozen in time, or maybe he took a quantum
again.
leap. I think he took a quantum leap.
Once again, I was hoping
He has a weekly show that he does on stage. He's got Skeeter. He is his stage manager, and they are able to like throw together a show every week, and you get a behind the scenes look at the show, and also you see the talent that's going on as well. It kind of jumps back and forth. It does have that meta aspect. It does break the fourth wall. So it does have some non-traditional elements in it. The one, of course, is about.
Wait, are we still talking about the Muppets?
No, now I'm on Wonder Years, son. Try to
Okay.
So,
You're in and out. That's why.
Relationship. As he's going through his relationship with Win. This introduced me to awkward teenage angst. We've all relate to. I understood what he was going through. He was always very confident that he knew what was going on in his life. only to be surprised almost every time that he had not the faintest idea. And yet he had some awareness to the fact that the character. The Simpsons is on my list to just raw, powerful, good writing, great shows, stories being told that I hadn't seen before. I just love The Simpsons. All the characters, the way they dive into these characters, the way they have such depth for being these two-dimensional, just always made. Force The Wire. I'm going to put The Wire. I felt that this show was just so four dimensions. More than three dimensions. It had four dimensions that just, it went through time. It gave, all the characters were, bit parts. They were special. They had some element of them that just made them stand out in your mind, both the good guys and the quote-unquote bad guys. Nobody was black and white. Everybody had these different shades to them, and you got to the amazing the view you got into their lives was one that just gave you a tremendous amount of insight into their character and into their lives.
We have to give Lorenzo. We have to give Lorenzo 30 seconds to get the frozen talking head to actually, reconnect or something like that.
Can you not hear me, Malik?
Now I can. You're in and out.
You're in and out,
Yeah.
Lorenzo.
Really cutting in and out throughout most
Can
of
you hear
your.
me now?
We can hear you.
Can you hear me? Am I still cutting in and out?
No, you're
No.
you're fine now. Go ahead and finish.
Well, what do you mean? You didn't hear anything I said, apparently.
No, we heard a good bit of what you said. It was just a lot of in and out throughout your points. But I do know the four shows that you mentioned. You said the Muppet Show. You said the Wonder Years. You said
The Simpsons.
The Wire and the Simpsons, right?
Right, but you didn't hear any of the other stuff I said?
We heard some of the other shows that you said that weren't in your lifetime.
Well, maybe I should just start over.
I don't know if that'll change anything as far as you cutting in and out. But if you wanna go ahead and give it a shot, you can feel free.
Well, am I still cutting in and out?
You're fine now.
Okay. So, what I'm going to
Go ahead.
talk about my interest in television shows that maybe were not within my lifetime. So those include Batman, Star Trek, MASH, Twilight Zone, and my Susan B. Anthony is Looney Tunes, because that is an amazing cartoon, and Johanna should definitely try to watch it sometime. But since we're doing sort of a quantum leap thing, where we're just going to talk about the shows within my own lifetime, I got to say the Muppet Show, that tremendously had a huge impact on me, and it was one of those first shows that really got me hooked on television because it showed me what it could be. Wonder Years kind of showed me how much emotional impact the show could have. It really made me feel things that I hadn't felt before in a TV show, connect with the character, Fred Savage's character, Kevin Arnold, in a way that I hadn't really ever been able to connect. As far as I was concerned, Kevin Arnold was the spokesman for my life. The Simpsons is another great show that has just been with me my whole life. I've seen almost every episode of that show, and there are over 500 episodes. The Wire is another great show. It's just Malik, we've talked about
Yep.
It doesn't really neglect anybody. Even if it doesn't spend a whole lot of time with them, it leverages that time that you spend with that character in such a way that you feel like you know that guy. You've at least had like a 20-30 minute conversation with the dude on the corner or shared a beer with him. You feel close to all the characters, whether they're the so-called bad guys, or even the so-called good guys. You see that. You see all those different shades that each one of these characters has, and they do it so efficiently that it just never ceased to be Anthony. That one's tough. I you guys talked about it earlier. That show is hilarious. It challenged me to like really pay attention. That's one of those shows where you just cannot like days off for a minute, because you will not get half of the jokes after that. To really get it all, you have to not just pay attention the first time, but probably watch it again. Would you agree with that, Malik?
What was that last show? I didn't hear the last show that you had.
Oh, well,
the Susan B. Anthony.
That was that for my Susan B. Anthony. I think I will go with Arrested Development, because that's one of those shows where like you really have to be paying attention the whole time. If you're not, you're not gonna get a lot of the jokes, and they're gonna go back to it, and you're gonna kind of be lost, or you're just gonna miss it. One of those shows where you really do probably have to watch it more than once.
Okay. All right. Well, that's actually, I like your list as well. It's a lot of variety in there. I'm glad you paid some homage to The Simpsons, because that's a great show. Whether you've seen all the episodes or you've only been able to watch a season or two, that's an amazing show, and there's always something in there that kind of harkens back. And there's a reason why it's been on for like damn near 30 years, right? So yeah, it's definitely an amazing show, a great show. Joe, how about you?
Oh, this is so tough. Very, very tough. I'll just give you my list. So, my number one show, a show that I never get tired of, is Seinfeld. I love Seinfeld. I loved it ever since it came on TV. I love the camaraderie with the cast, or at least the way it was portrayed on screen. They really look like they belong together, the four of them. Jerry Seinfeld, Julie Louis-Dreyfus, George Costanza, what's his name? Oh my God. Michael Richards is Kramer, and how could I forget George Costanza's real name? Anyway, it'll come to me.
Jason Alexander.
Jason Alexander, yes, thank you, Malik. I mean, they just work so well together on screen, and the way that Jerry Seinfeld and Larry David just took everyday things and made a 30-minute show out of it, I found, amazing how they just take normal, everyday occurrences, like going to a Chinese restaurant or walking in a store or going to a movie, the mix-ups of meeting friends at the movie theater, stuff like that. It just made it funny. I tuned in every week. Throughout the 90s, that was probably the only show that I made sure that I watched every single week. For my number two show, for sheer historical, I don't think I'm overstating it either. For sheer historical impact, I went with The Cosby Show, because to me that was really the first show where you saw minorities, successful minorities, on a TV show with a family. Every week on television. As far as I know, that was the first one that started it all, going in that direction, and then it spawned a lot of other ones later on down the years, and it was just funny. It just took everyday family occurrences and made it funny. Bill Cosby's solution to things was just funny. I mean, and I want a Gordon Gartrell shirt. I was just going to say it now. I want one. But it was just funny in the way the family unit worked together. it was just a great show, at a great time. Um, my number 3 show is Entourage, because I want to be Vinny Chase. I want to be Vinny Chase. That's what I want my life to be. That's what I imagine my life would be like. I want Vinny Chase's life. And I loved Entourage, especially the first 3 or 4 seasons. I thought were just great. Did it suffer in the end? Yeah, I think so. I don't think the writing was as crisp as it was in the first few seasons, but also I think they were trying to portray that the characters were growing up, and they were leaving the lifestyle that I loved in the beginning. They were leaving it behind because the characters were maturing. But yeah, I loved Entourage in the beginning. I wanted to be Vinny Chase. So my number 4 show. This is where it gets really tough for me. Yeah, I had like Twilight Zone on my list. I have a bunch of shows written down here. I'm just gonna go with Alias. J.J. Abrams, when he brought Alias to TV back, I believe it was the same year as 24. I believe it was like 2001 or something like that. Alias really introduced me to the ass-kicking woman. There were other shows in the past that go from the 60s, 70s. We had Policewoman. You had The Avengers with Emma Peel. But this is where, it really focuses on that one person trying to hold it all together, a double agent, and I thought Jennifer Garner was great as Sydney Bristow. I really liked her dad, Jack Bristow, as well. He was a great character in the show. And I love JJ's, especially the first season, where he ended everything on a cliffhanger. And then it would pick up right where it left off in the next episode. So, yeah, Alias is going to be my number. What am I up to? Number 4.
Yep.
That's my number 4, and my alternate honorable mention. Oh man, this is tough. I'm going to go with an old show. An old show. From, I believe it was like 50s and 60s, but I used to see it every night when I was a kid growing up. The Honeymooners. I watched The Honeymooners every night.
The Honeymooners from the 30s.
No, it's not from the 30s.
I thought it was from the 30s.
Dude, we didn't even have TVs in the 30s, man.
No.
There was no TVs in the 30s, really.
Live
It's not transistor radio. The Honeymooners, I own.
1950.
Yeah, I 1955 to 56, right? I knew it was the 50s. I actually own. I bought all the Honeymooners episodes, at least the original 39 anyway. There are other ones that are considered lost episodes, but the original 39, I do have the DVD box set. I've watched them plenty of times, and on PIX every New Year's Eve is a Honeymooners marathon on WPIX. For those of you who live in New York, it's Channel 11. There's every New Year's Eve, like I said, a Honeymooners marathon. So yeah, I had a bunch of other shows here. I'm sorry. Let me just explain the Honeymooners. The Honeymooners is pretty much the basis for the Flintstones and the King of Queens. So people who love the King of Queens and people who love the cartoon The Flintstones, if you like those two things, you will love the Honeymooners because it is the originator. It's about a bus driver who lives in Brooklyn, and he's married to Audrey Meadows, which is oh my God, how can I forget her name? I remember her real name, but I don't remember her name on the show. Oh, Alice. Alice Crandon. It's about the Crandons. Ralph Crandon is played by Jackie Gleason. He's the bus driver, and Alice, his wife, is played by Audrey Meadows, and it is hilarious. Just imagine King of Queens, but 40 years earlier. Is basically what the Honeymooners is. And the King of Queens, he's a heavyset guy married to a beautiful redhead, and it's the same thing in the Honeymooners, except Kevin James is a IPS driver, and Ralph Crandom is a bus driver. So it's the same premise. If you guys have never seen the episode of Honeymooners, I really recommend it. It's a hilarious show, and Jackie Gleason did a lot for television back in the day. So definitely check it out.
And I was joking, by the way. I knew it wasn't in the 30s. I was just messing with you. Well, that's a great list. Actually, I'm actually really surprised by your list, Joe, because there was one or two shows that I really swore was going to be there, and you didn't put them there.
Like what? Which ones?
I thought Lost was going to be on there.
Lost is on my list here. Like I told you many times, Malik, that ending ruined Lost for me. Ruined it. If I had a better ending, it would have been right up there. But that ending killed Lost for me. Like I told you, I don't want to see that show again. After that, now knowing how it ended, the road that we all took to that ending killed it for me.
Well, I'm not surprised by some of you. I'm not surprised that you picked Seinfeld. I knew Seinfeld was going to be on the list for you. Actually, The Honeymooners was one of the ones on my list. So I've since taken that off because I didn't want to repeat any of you guys shows. So my list is.
No, man, give us your original list and then give us your amended.
Well, okay.
So
my original list, of course, was The Wire. You guys know how much I love that show. I feel like it's the best show I've ever seen. I absolutely swear by that show, and I will suggest it to anybody that will listen. And for all the reasons that Lorenzo mentioned earlier. My second was The Honeymooners. Just like you, Joe, every New Year's Eve, midnight hits, I'm turning to whatever channel WPIX is on, and I'm watching the Honeymooners marathons. And no matter how many times I've seen episodes and episodes and episodes of those shows, I still laugh to this day, just because it's still funny. It still makes me crack up. My third one was 24. I was like, 24. We talked about it here on the show. 24 is a great show. I think that for the time that it came out, and then for the majority of the seasons, it definitely followed the formula, and it kept to it, and that formula was great, and it was fresh, and it was cool, and I waited for it every year. And so my amended list, actually this next my fourth show on that list is actually on my amended list because nobody mentioned it, and that is Married with Children. I freaking love Married with Children. I think that Ed O'Neill is one of the pioneers of television, and he was absolutely perfect as Al Bundy. Al Bundy and the Bundy family, like it was so good. It was so funny. It was so, it had so many points in that, and I can still watch every episode of that show to this day. I absolutely love it. My second show on my list now would be The Big Bang Theory, which is it's a relatively new show. I think it's 8 seasons in or whatever, but it hasn't been around for 20 years like a lot of these other shows. But Big Bang Theory, it's a show that follows the lives of 4 nerds, 4 video game, nerds. They're geniuses. They're all geniuses in their own respective fields. And just pretty much how they navigate life and the women that are in their lives. So it's very good, very funny show. I always tell people that it's the Friends of my era. Friends was out in the early 90s when I was younger, so I didn't relate so much to those characters as well as I would have, as well as you would have to other characters. But this show is like my show. And so my third show, actually it's funny because all my shows are comedies. My third show was South Park. South Park is a great show. Anybody that has not seen that show, South Park is an absolutely great show. It's hilarious. It's edgy. It's over the top at times. But I always love the fact that, if something's going on in today's world, in anything that's going on, within 3 to 4 weeks, South Park's doing an episode about it, and they're gonna have fun with it. And one of the things that I remember just recently with the whole Donald Sterling racist comments and stuff like that was one of the things I heard was somebody posted on Twitter or something like that. We cannot wait until South Park comes out with their Donald Sterling episode, and so it's coming, and when it hits, it's gonna be great. It's gonna be a lot of fun. My fourth was definitely. I actually did have Wonder Years on my list as well, Lorenzo. I absolutely think. I think that's one of the greatest shows ever. And I did love that show. But I didn't want to add it in. So my fourth show is actually another oldie, an oldie but goodie. I Love Lucy. This show was quite possibly one of the funniest shows I've ever seen. Lucille Ball was hilarious. Her relationship with her real life husband at the time, um, with Mr. Desi Arnaz or Ricky Ricardo. So this is set in New York City, set in an apartment building in New York City. It basically centers around Ricky Ricardo and his wife Lucy, and she is just crazy. She's like a ball of energy. She does her own thing, and it's just about him trying to keep her in check while trying to at least have some semblance of a musical career still, and trying to figure out where the hell his wife is doing and what she's up to, and she's always up to something. So those would be my four, and then so my fifth would actually be a show that is if you guys have it's not a comedy. It would be The Shield. I love The Shield. The Shield is very much on the same levels of The Wire. It's like The Wire meets 24. It's like the rogue cop, and it's all about like this just really really corrupt group of police officers and task force and all that stuff. And it's a great show, and I think it ended really well. They knew when it was ending, and it was great. It was just a really amazing show all the way through. So those would be my four, and my alternate as The Shield. Sorry, Lorenzo, we didn't get to your thing today, but we will. I really do want to get to yours at some point in time.
Malik,
But yes,
Malik, I got like a 2-minute version, just
you have
for you.
you have a 2 minute version. You have to have a 2 minute version because we're really running on time. Okay, so
2
I will.
minutes,
So
2
the
minutes
last,
times 10-minute version.
Set it up.
so the last topic of the night is Lorenzo's Love Corner. We are bringing it back, and so we had one question for Lorenzo and see what your take on this situation would be. So Lorenzo, you've been dating a young woman for approximately 3 months, and she has decided it's now time for you to meet her father. You go to the door and find out her dad is none other than Jack Bauer. Your girlfriend has an errand to run and asks that you stay with her dad while she gets ready. Well, how do you break the ice? And what's the first meeting protocol when dealing with a man who you know could kill you in an instant and probably wants to at this very moment? Go.
All right, so I gave this some thought, and the big threat isn't the father, right? But time. Spending any amount of time in the vicinity of this guy will mean certain death. What I say you do is you say, oh, hey, you know what? I need to get something from my car. And then you don't come back ever. And you toss your cell phone, treat it like it's a burner. You know what a burner is, Malik. You treat it like it's a burner. Then you leave your car behind. As soon as you get like within a mile away, you leave your car because it could be traced. You take public transportation and you find a fallout shelter, because unless you can leave within the next 2 hours, 1 hour, something bad's gonna happen. So you need to go to a fallout shelter and just chill and wait for the dirty bomb to go off, the drone to blow somebody up. Just wait there 24 hours for everything to chill, and then you can come back out. And I would say not call that girl ever again. That's my opinion.
So you wouldn't date her just because of her dad?
Oh no, you said it's not just it's Jack Bauer. And Joe, you said it, man. Anybody around him dies. His daughter might live, but you know the daughter's boyfriend is gonna die.
Oh, don't worry.
Run, baby. Run, baby.
Yeah.
Run.
Well, Kim Bauer is gorgeous, so I'd have trouble keeping away from her.
Then you will die.
Whatever.
You can't say I didn't warn you.
No, I'll die happy. That's fine. So that brings us to the end of our. Thank you very much, Lorenzo. That was great. So that brings us to the end of our episode. For Lorenzo, Johanna, Joe, This is Malik, and we are the Agents of Helm. And enjoy your evenings, and we'll see you next time for another exciting episode where I believe Joe will be moderating. No, Lorenzo will be moderating.
Lorenzo.
This will be a Lorenzo show, so get your popcorn ready. I can only say it that way. Everybody, good night. Peace.